Good morning, everyone. How are you? So this month I'm here live streaming the service for this Morgan Hill Buddhist temple. So I hope you are doing healthy and stay safe. So personally, I had the stomach flu last weekend, so I couldn't attend the service, but I'm fully recovered now. So don't catch a cold, everybody. Okay, so our service will start from sutra chanting, Sambujo and Jusege. So if you have your books or material in your place, please join us reading Sambujo and Jusege. Thank you. Please show me the show. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much. So now let's read the three treasures. So if you have a bubble book like this, so it's on page 8. So please show me Kashto. Hard is it to be born into human life? Now we're living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One? Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of truth. I take refuge in the Buddha, and we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment, and awaken ourselves the spring world. I take refuge in the Dharma, and we be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom in as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha, where we live in harmony in a great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be free from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in a life of harmony. In a spirit of universal oneness, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of couples, hard is it to hear such an excellent, divine, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us slowly understand the true meaning of the Buddha's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, thank you very much. So now I'd like to start my Dharma talk by reading the passage from one of the letters written by our founder, Shinna Shonin, to his disciple, the please Shonin Kashogen. Although hardly unexpected, Myohobo's attainment of birth still makes me deeply happy. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 I'd like to start my talk with a unique story of cheese in the village of Switzerland. Switzerland is famous for its beautiful nature and delicious cheese, right? Do you like cheese? What is your favorite cheese cuisine? I love pizza, mac and cheese, Japanese pancake, or okonomiyaki with cheese. If you haven't tried okonomiyaki cheese, please try it. I really like it. Since I love cheese, visiting Switzerland is listed on my bucket list. One village in the interior of Switzerland had a quite unique tradition. In a village called Grimens in Switzerland, they used to make a big wheel of cheese when a baby was born. They carved the newborn baby's name and the date of birth on the surface of the cheese, and it was so big, around a big like a wheel of a car, maybe like this big. I don't know how big it is, but yeah, I thought it would be eaten at the one's birthday at first. However, they were not for their birthday. Those are actually for their funeral service. The villagers kept the special wheels of the cheese that would be eaten by their friends and neighbors at their funerals. Imagine sitting aside the wheel of cheese at your wedding. What would it look like if it were served at your funeral? Yeah, the people in the Grimens village, Switzerland, consider the cheese to be the important object that is not only for fulfilling the food needs, but also symbolizes joy. The cheese, which is made at the birth of baby, might have reminded the parents in the village of the joy of encountering their loving kids. But at the same time, the reality of having to part from them someday in the future. When the kids were grown up in the Grimens village, the cheese played an important role to show them the reality of their lives, which is that we just happen to be living right now, but we have to die someday. The cheese for the funeral of the older person might be shriveled and brown, pockmarked from decades of mice and mouse nibbles, and hard as a rock. And you need an axe to slice it up and strong alcohol to wash it down. Fossilized funeral cheese, that means you live a long life. On the other hand, the cheese for the funeral of the younger person might be still soft and new. So residents spend a lifetime aging the wheel for their own funeral. Nowadays, although this unique custom of cheese is almost dying out, some cheese are still preserved in the basement without being eaten. I have no idea why this custom was discontinued. However, these remaining cheeses were originally supposed to be eaten by someone else. If we still follow their cheese custom these days, I believe that this custom in cheese would play an important role to show us the reality of our lives. Every cheese was created to be eaten by his family and his friends at the end of their lives. No cheese was an exception, regardless of length of life or quality, ability, or social position of that person. What would you think your cheese look like right now? Mine would be getting harder and browner than the teenagers. Right? Some might be eaten when it is still soft. Others may be very hard. No one can know when our cheese will be eaten. But every cheese is supposed to be eaten not by ourselves, but by their family and friends. Just because I'm a minister, there is no exception. Once we are born into this world, we have to leave this world someday in the future. It is sad, but no one is an exception. If possible, I don't want to eat anyone's cheese because everyone who is around me is so important to me. How many cheese are we supposed to eat in our lives? And how many people would eat my cheese when it happened? When we face someone's death, we may feel shocked and surprised that it happens. This is our original, our natural response toward death. We are always surprised because we tend to take it for granted to live here right now. But tend to think that death is something we didn't expect to happen today or tomorrow to us. Here, I'd like to share the letter of Shinashoni, which I read at the beginning of the service. The letter was written when he was 80 years old and living in Kanto region. So this letter was Shinashoni's response after hearing the news of death of Myohobo, who was one of his best and closest disciples. Shinashoni must have felt so depressed after hearing this news. However, he mentioned in his letter as follows. Although hardly unexpected, Myohobo's attainment of birth still makes me deeply happy. I think his thought is opposite to what we think toward death. When we hear the news of someone's death in our daily lives, it make us feel sad and shocked because it happened beyond our expectations. So people who don't hear the Jodo Shinshu tradition might think Shinashoni must have been a crazy minister because he said he wasn't surprised, but he was happy to hear of his disciples' death. Jodo Shinshu's view towards life and death seems opposite to what people genuinely think. What Shinashoni probably intended his letter maybe like this. The surprising thing which we should really notice is the emphasis on living here at this moment, regardless the time of our lives, regardless the limit of our lives. The reality which our loved ones showed us through their own life is not only about cruel side of our reality, but at the same time, it is an important lesson which makes us realize how miraculous it is that we are living here at this moment. It is just like the custom of cheese used to show the villagers in Switzerland. The day when we need to eat our important people's cheese might come someday. Also, the day when my cheese will be eaten will surely come someday. If such a day comes, I wouldn't be able to stop feeling sad or crying for the loss. It has been 2 years since my grandmother passed away. But even now, I still remember the time we shared with her and missed her a lot. And tears rolled down my face naturally. No matter how many years have passed, the sadness remains in our hearts because the time we valued with our loved ones are irreplaceable memories for our lives. However, in Jodo Shinshu, we are fortunate that we can understand even death as an important opportunity to express our deepest joy of encountering the person and appreciate what we share with each other in our lives. So it is still sad, but we can share the joy and warmth with everyone, even in the middle of the sadness. That is because we can understand Amida Buddha gives us assurance of birth and the pure life as a Buddha. So that is why Shina and Shoni really appreciate Amida's wisdom and compassion. Yeah. And seen from the Jodo Shinshu perspective, maybe we can say that those cheeses will be the Buddha's cheese because each life have made people realize the reality of death, which they needed to face someday, and depth of the interconnection with others, with their other lives through eating their cheeses. And we can say that the cheese for our Jodo Shinshu followers could be the teaching of Buddha. It can be more dynamic than cheese. A great wisdom and compassion Buddha will stretch toward every living thing, just like melting cheese. And it will cultivate and fill our minds and heart with joy. We can enjoy it during our whole lives here now. So let us enjoy the taste of the cheese Dharma together and appreciate it with saying Namo Amida Butsu. So I'd like to conclude my Dhamma talk by reading the passage again. Please show me that show. Although hardly unexpected, Myohobo's attainment of birth still makes me deeply happy. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much for listening. Okay, so this concludes our morning service. So still difficult situation or might be continuing in. Yeah. So, but yeah, I hope you stay safe and take care of yourself and each other. Yeah. So I'm gonna conclude this service with Kasho. Please show me Kasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.